please support me through PayPal to devinwyndham@gmail.com. devinwyndham@gmail.com is one word, all lowercase. I also do tutoring both online and in person. I am based in Fairfax, Virginia. If you're interested in tutoring, you can reach me at that same email. Please subscribe to my channel. All right, I want to talk about Spanish and Latin, mostly, well, both of them. I'm not a language expert. This is, just the best that I remember, and it's my own interpretation. All right, so Spanish came from Latin, and so did Italian and French, by the way. But anyway, Spanish came from Latin, Latin turned into Spanish, Latin morphed into Spanish. I'm learning Spanish right now. I've been learning Spanish for several years. I've been learning Latin, French, Italian, and Spanish over the years to varying degrees. I want to talk about syllables in Latin. Syllable, well, I guess you know what that is. Syllable has 3 syllables. It's basically a unit of sound. And most linguists, a linguist is somebody that studies languages, but I guess most linguists think of a syllable, the main part of a syllable is a vowel. So the vowels in English are basically A, E, I, O, and U, and sometimes Y. They're called vowels because they're formed with our vocal cords. We're actually breathing out air to make that vowel, like dad, add. And basically to have a syllable, you have to have a vowel. So I'm simplifying in this video a lot, but to find the number of syllables in a word, you basically count the number of vowels, sort of. America has 4 syllables. Sidewalk has 2 syllables. In Latin, and the languages that came from Latin, otherwise known as the Romance languages, the basic formula for a syllable is consonant vowel. So, well, basically. Anyway, I want to talk about vocal stress. So, America, the vocal stress falls on the second syllable, the me. It's where I guess most of our breath is falling, most of the strength. And in English, the stress is important. So, record and record are 2 different words. Like record is a noun, record is a verb, and I'm changing the parts of speech just by changing where the stress falls. Record or record. I want to talk about stress in Latin with the view of understanding stress in Spanish. So I'm going to simplify, but basically in Latin, the stress falls on the second to last syllable. That's the rule. Second to last syllable in Latin. An example is amare, which means I love. Second to last syllable. The second to last syllable has a cool name. It's called a penult. Let's do some terminology. So the last syllable of a word, let's take amare, to love. The last syllable would be re. Amare is spelled A-M-A-R-E. The last syllable would be re, amare. The last syllable is called the ultima. It comes from ultimos in Latin, which means last. If you say isn't there a transformer called Ultimus Prime? I guess he's the ultimate, he's the last. After all the other Transformers might die, he's the last because he's the strongest. But if you say, oh, that's the ultimate, it's it's the last one, after every other entity around his parish, because it's the best. Anyway, ultimate. Ultimate is the last, so the last syllable. Paine in Latin means almost. So a peninsula is an almost insula, an almost island. Insula means island, so words like that are isle, the British Isles, or insulate, an island from electricity. Italy's a peninsula, Baja California's a peninsula. So anyway, Paine means almost. So the penult is the almost last syllable. So those are two nice words to know for linguistics: the ultimate and the penult, or the last syllable and the second to last syllable. So remember, the basic rule in Latin is that the vocal stress falls on the second to last syllable, otherwise known as a penult. So let's illustrate that. Amare, right? You see, the stress is falling on the second to last syllable. Amare. Let's conjugate that. So basically, let's conjugate amare. Amare is to love. So amo, I love. The stress falls on the penult. Amo. Amas, you love. It sounds a lot like Spanish, doesn't it? Amas, you love. the stress falls on the second to last syllable. Amas. Amat. He loves. The stress falls on the second to last syllable. Amat. He loves. Amamos. We love. Again, the stress falls on the second to last syllable. Amamos. Amatis. You plural love. The stress falls on the second to last syllable. Amatis. Amant. They love. The stress falls on the second to last syllable. Amant. Let's do another one. Volare. To fly. The stress falls on the second to last syllable. Volare. Volo. I flow. I fly. The stress falls on the second to last syllable. Volo. Volas. You fly. You singular fly. The stress falls on the second to last syllable. Volas. Volat. He flies. The stress falls on the second to last syllable. Volat. Volamos. We fly. The stress falls on the penult. Volatis. You plural fly. The stress falls on the penult. Volant. They fly. The stress falls on the penult. Alright, you get the point. So, basically that same stress rule flows from Latin to Spanish. In Spanish, and I guess this is directed to reading Spanish, or I guess one of the purposes of this video is to know when you see printed Spanish, can you pronounce it correctly, like with the stress falling on the right syllable? And also, can you write Spanish? You know, writing Spanish entails writing these accents. Do you know where to put the accents? Alright, but anyway, the key for me to knowing those rules is like understanding. And I also do a lot of math videos, and I always say in my math videos, understanding is more important than memorizing. I sort of have that same philosophy when learning Spanish. I like to understand my way through as much as I can. For me, memorizing is just not fun. I like understanding everything. Alright, so where were we? Yes, so basically vocal stress in Latin falls on the penults, and so it will in Spanish too. So let's just take the verb amare and see what happened to it as Latin became Spanish. Alright, we're all lazy. I'm lazy. People are lazy, and when we talk we get lazy, we drop stuff. So the Spanish people dropped the E out of laziness from amare. It just became amar, right? But it's still technically stressed on the second to last syllable. It's just that there is no last syllable because it dropped. It's amar. So let's just say that how are we going to cope with this? So basically, I'm wondering if I'm going to mess up all my rules here. Well, I guess for my rules to hold, we're going to have to sort of pretend that words in Latin all ended with a vowel. I mean, they didn't. It's the example, amat and he loves, that doesn't end in a vowel. But let's just say that they do. It helps me. I guess I'm fudging here, but a lot of them do. And maybe they did end in a lot of vowels as Latin was becoming Spanish. But let's just say they end in a vowel. So let's just pretend all Latin words end in a vowel. So that amar, it's really being accented on the last syllable. The only reason it's not is that vowel dropped out of laziness. And so we've basically formed the basic rule in stressing Spanish. A Spanish word is stressed on the penult if it ends in a vowel, and if it ends in a consonant, it's like that that vowel just dropped. So it's still sort of accented on the second to last syllable, but it's really the last. So I guess we can simplify the rule and say that in Spanish, a word is accented on the penult if it ends in a vowel. In Spanish, a word is accented on the last syllable if it ends in a consonant. So let's go through amare, which became amar. So amar is in a consonant that stresses on the last syllable, amar. In Spanish, amo is the same as in Latin, I love, ends in a vowel accented on the second to last syllable. You love is amas. All right, well, there's the first exception, and the way I get around it is saying, well, the S is not really there, so just treat S like a vowel, because S is how you form plurals. So it's like the word really ended in a vowel, but that S just is invisible. So we now have this rule that a word in Spanish is accented on the penult if it ends in a vowel or an S. Otherwise, it's accented on the last syllable. So that gives us, let's just conjugate amar. So we have amo, amas, ama, amamos, amais. Well, amais, that would be an exception, but that's indicated with an accent, because exceptions to this rule will be indicated with those written accents. So this is a written accent on the I. Amais and then aman. Oh, aman's another exception, and that's, I guess, just that I think of it stemming from that third singular, which ended in nt in Latin amans, but I guess out of laziness the T dropped, so it ends in N. So now the rule is a word in Spanish is accented on the penult if it ends in a vowel, an S, or an N. Otherwise, it's accented on the last syllable. So we have amar, amo, amas, ama, amamos, amais, aman. And by the way, that amais, it came from amatis, and out of laziness, the T just dropped and the A and I coalesced into a diphthong, amais. So there you go. There's basically the rules for vocal stress in Spanish. Let me say it again. So in Spanish, the vocal stress, if a word ends in a vowel, an N, or an S, the vocal stress falls on the penult. Otherwise, it falls on the ultima. And exceptions to that are indicated by those written accents. All right, let's talk about more those written accents. Or like syllables. So E is considered a weak vowel in Spanish. And the way I justify that to myself is it's hard to say, say E. The letter I is pronounced E in Spanish, much like cheese in English. If you say E, you're smiling, your lower facial muscles are tense. Because of that tenseness, it's sort of hard to hold. And so if I comes next to another vowel, like an A, they come together, they smoosh together into one syllable called diphthong. A diphthong is like one syllable formed by two vowels. Another weak vowel would be U for the same reason. The letter U is pronounced U in Spanish. Notice that your facial muscles are tense when you say U. And so that the U would tend to coalesce into another vowel, like bueno. Let's give some examples of that. So there's bueno, duermo, duermes. If you want to tease out that separate I or U, you do it with an accent like Lucia. I'm teasing out that I to be its own syllable. La Via Lactea, right? There's an accent on the I of via. By the way, there's an accent on the first A of lactea. Why? Because it has three syllables. So, but it breaks that rule of where the stress should fall, right? The stress should fall on the penult, but it doesn't. It falls on what's called the antepenult. Ante in Latin means before. So the before next to last syllable. So the third syllable from the end is called the antepenult. Lactea, la via lactea, is accented on the antepenult, so it breaks the rule. It should be accented on the penult. So we indicate that with an written accent. So I know there's a written accent on the A of lactea. Joaquin, the name Joaquin. It should be, since it ends in an N, it should be accented on the penult, but in truth it's accented on the ultima, so I need an accent on the I of Joaquin. Mexico. Mexico is accented on the antepenult, but it's antepenult. It ends in a vowel, so it should be accented on the penult, stressed. Mexico is stressed on the antepenult. It ends in a vowel, so it should be stressed on the penult. So because it's breaking that rule, we know that there's a written accent on the E of Mexico, the first syllable. What else? Well, that's basically the rules for accents in Spanish. Let me think of some more Spanish words. Dia for day. I'm guessing, I'm not sure about this one, but dia for day logically should have an accent on that I because it has two syllables. If there were no accent, since I is a weak vowel, it would coalesce with A to make one. So I'm guessing dia has an accent on the I. Hora for hour, no accents. That follows the rule. It's accented on the P note as it should be. Persona, person, accented on the P note as it should be, so no written accents. Semáforo, semáforo. Traffic light, semáforo. Tell me about the accents. That's, you can always pause the video, my videos, right, to answer questions, but semáforo. That's, the stress falls on the ante-P notes, so there must be a written accent on the ante-P notes. Alright, I think I'll end this video here.